Hello, everyone. My name is Brandon Nguyen, and today my topic will be on esports. So, my question would be: should esports be considered sports? Right? It's a major controversy topic because not everyone thinks that esports is a sport. It's just games. So, today I'll be showing a video on why esports is pretty competitive. Right? So, basically, this is on the top left we have League of Legends. Top right is League of Legends as well. Bottom left is the Overwatch League, and on the bottom right is League of Legends as well. So basically, there's basically a tournament for every game out there. It's pretty huge. So people would say that sports requires physical strength, right? But the definition of a sport is that it's an activity involving physical exertion and skill in which an individual or team competes against another or others for entertainment, right? So my argument for that would be that there is physical exertion when you do esports because you would have to coordinate with your team, and then just getting yourself hyped up to go against someone takes a lot out of you, and that playing games for a certain amount of time can pretty much get you tired, right? And basically, as esports continues, there's always going to be people who watch, right? It's a big fan base, right? Some people would argue that esports is not a skill, however, but it's or esports is just a skill, but it's not a sport. You can say that, but there's always going to be athletes who have skills. Are they not in a sport, right? So there's different arguments on why people think esports is a sport, esports is not a sport, but it goes down a long way, right? So the esports is actually making a revenue of $1.8 billion just in 2022 by itself. And the year's not over yet, right? The fact that they made this amount of money in within 6 months is insane. And here's a video of LCS 2022 of Evil Geniuses versus 100 Thieves. It was a major event for League of Legends.
Ever, and it never felt this good to be bad. Evil Geniuses are your new LCS champions. Live evil indeed. Best teams in the LCS, 3-0 Cloud9, 3-0 Team Liquid, 3-0 100 Thieves. The Evil Geniuses have changed the game.
The Evil Geniuses' reign of terror has begun. A new era for the LCS. A new flag posted in the LCS arena. And a new champion will take their bow.
100 Thieves became the 5th team.
So just as the NBA finals just happened, right? With teams dominating to fight to be the best and to win the finals, Evil Geniuses went through many games. They went flawless in most of the games with 3-0 on 4 to 5 teams. Apparently, they're actually pretty good. The fact that they recruited people outside of the US and people in the US to build their super team, right? It's like the Lakers super team that people thought the Lakers would have, right? So it's a pretty big thing for gamers because when you see your team like shine to the best and win the finals, you get pretty excited, and like you can match bet on these games and make money off of it. It's insane, right? So for esports, it requires a lot out of a person, right? Long hours of practice, physical strength, mental strength, and you got to be pretty strategic, right? So just as athletes, they would have to practice their sport, right? So do players. They wake up at a certain time, they practice with other people, their teammates, other teams, right? So basically, you would need a lot of physical strength to play the game, not because of you're moving your arm or whatever, right? But it's actually your hand-eye coordination. Once you see something with your eyes, you would have to react to it as fast as possible. The average gamer has about a 70 millisecond reaction time, which is insane for how fast it is, right? Because a pro athlete gamer would have a 70 millisecond reaction time, while the average person would have a 180 millisecond. That's like 110 milliseconds difference, and that's pretty drastic if you think about it from reaction time to click, right? So that's one part of being a pro gamer. And then the mental strength, once because you have to have a pretty strong mental strength because if you're playing games for long hours and if you keep losing, you will just feel like giving up. But for esports, you have to keep your fire and just keep going on until you feel like you're the best, right? You want to dominate the scene. And strategy, it requires a lot of strategy because let's say you're coordinating your team to push one site or you're playing League of Legends, you want to do one objective, you do the next objective, right? Or do you want to push for towers, inhibs, or do you want to just go for Baron, or do you want to just go for Drag, right? Basically, everything requires a team mindset where you have to push everything and just plan it out. Not everything is just a shoot and go, right? People would argue that it's just skills and it's not a sport, right? It doesn't require full body movement, no coordination, and all you do is just sit in a chair, right? So I'll tell you that you're right. It does not require a full body movement. You're not using your legs, right? But you're using your head and your arms, right? Meaning whatever you think, you do. Right? It doesn't matter about how you're just using your legs to run. Not all sports are like that because there's chess. Chess is a sport now, and that you don't require full body movement, but it's still a sport. There is coordination because you're not just going in willy nilly, but you actually have to plan things out, right? And yeah, you do sit in a chair, but like I said, chess is the same thing. Right? Some people argue that sports improves your health, but games give headaches. That's not wrong, right? Don't get me wrong. That's actually true. Sports improve your health with your well-being from cardio and making sure that you're on diet and you're actually getting your body in check, right? And games just give headaches, right? Because you're just watching a screen all day and you get headaches and you get eye sores. But there's organizations out there who actually require their players to work out, have a diet, just to make sure that they're healthy enough to play. That they're whatever they're not doing right, they get things done correctly so that they're at their best, they're at their peak, they're not like slowing down, right? But I'll tell you one thing, it is a sport because as a sport, like for example, football or basketball, it does require teamwork, right? You're working with other people, right? You got to make sure that whatever you do, your teammates understand as well, right? You got to communicate with them, making sure that you get your communication, your comms, making sure that whatever you say is correct. And you actually need to practice to play a lot. I know some people actually have to practice around like 8 to 10 hours a day just to make sure that they're the best, or else they're gonna get booted out of their team, right? And that it requires a lot of strategy, right? For example, you're doing Valorant. Valorant, you would have to make sure that if you're pushing A, but then their entire team's there, you rotate out and go to the other site, or you could just lurk around and just play for picks. And just scrimmages out there, like how NBA players have like just outside courts, they just play with other professionals, they just make sure that they get to practice their skills against actually good people. But for esports, they get to scrim with the top 100s, top 500s, whatever is out there, right? And they also get to play with other teams for fun because it doesn't require in person, right? You could just meet people online, and then you could just practice there. But you get to actually like play with people all the way in Asia because there's some pros out there who actually live in Asia. Right? As sport requires skill and practice, esports is the same because you need skill to actually be good at what you're doing, and you actually need to practice, right? And like I said, if chess could be considered a sport, why can't esports be considered a sport, right? So I'll say this: esports is the same as sports. Just as we watch sports on our TV or in person, esports has that too. You can watch your tournaments on your computer, on your phone. It's on Twitch, live stream app, right? And there's also live events. The way esports makes money is pretty smart and lucrative, right? They make money off their fan base, their team support, the tournaments, events, and also merchandise. Like as I show you guys right here. I have two Team Liquid flags, right? I support my team because I'm a huge fan of my team. So just as I would say I'm a huge fan of the Raptors or the Blazers, I have their jersey, right? I have it in my closet. It's the same thing as how if I'm a fan for a certain team, I'll support them, right? So just alone in 2022, um, so since that 2022 is now over, it's only been 6 months. Esports already clocked in about $1.8 billion within 6 months. That's insane, considering the fact that the year's not over yet, right? And that's a lot of money for just 6 months, right? So there's almost a tournament for every game. You could think of League of Legends, Valorant, Dota, and like even Fortnite has one that had a major showing for it. So just many games that has tournaments, and people are insane. If they like a game, they want a tournament for it, right? So the revenue, um, according to Insider Intelligence, right, the um, the viewer count grew tremendously, right? The average viewers monthly alone was about 29.6 million people per month, right? So in 2019, it didn't have that much, right? But then as you grow all the way to 2022, 2023, the viewers climbed up because of COVID. And when COVID happened, you couldn't watch sports as much. There was a break. But esports had a thing because, if you're online, you can still have your games, right? As long as your internet's working, you can play and you can stream it, and then that's it. It's pretty easy to get the games going compared to the real life sports because if something happens, weather or maybe like a pandemic, like what we had, everything was closed for a bit, right? So top five organizations for esports right now is TSM, which is worth about $410 million. Cloud9 with about 350 million. Team Liquid with about $310 million. FaZe Clan with about 305, and 100 Days about 109 or 90 million. That's only the top five organizations. However, there's like more than 20 out there right now. And all those organizations added up together will be $1.8 billion. And that's a lot of money if you think about it, right? That that shows that there's an actual fan base for esports, just as real life sports, right? So my final thoughts would be that esports is a sport, right? If athletes have skill, so do players. The players have skills for the game, just as how some athletes have skills for certain games. Like some have good skills for basketball, but some don't have good skills for football, or yeah, right, or not even soccer. It's not the same, but players have certain skills and that they show off by being the best of the best. Esports takes a physical and mental strain on your body because whenever you play games for long hours, your mentality would go down and down as you play for a long time. And your physical strength is that if you can react to it as fast as possible and you can do something about it, then that's pretty insane. So in this picture, this is ESL one. This was a CS:GO tournament, and it shows that it's almost a packed arena, right? The fact that there's this many people shows how the esports community is growing as we talk, right? There's more people exploring the esports community. Not many people are watching sports because since the NBA is down, because the finals was already over and there's nothing to watch, they might as well watch something else, right? People start playing games more, and they just want to start watching esports because it's actually pretty exciting to watch, right? Well, that is my speech today. Thank you guys for listening to me, and that's my point on why esports should be a sport. Hopefully, you guys think the same as I do, and let's go, Team Liquid.